All right, shalom, shalom to the nation of Israel, shalom. All right, this is your brother Kazakia out of Great Millstone, New Orleans, coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, right? But prior to getting started, we want to give all infinite honor and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone, rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? And the title of today's lesson is going to be The Hard Part Is Yet to Come. Okay, that's the title of today's lesson, is going to be The Hard Part Is Yet to Come, right? And kind of land backing off of another lesson I did where I talked about, basically, us being on what, the proven grounds, man. So now we're proving it. Now is the time where we're proving ourselves to Yahweh Shema Shah. Hey, look, this is what we need to do. How we need to do it, why we need to do it, okay, in order for us to receive salvation, as far as preaching and teaching the word of Yahweh Shema Shah, right? But we're coming into a very trying time, a testing time, okay, a time, basically, like what the scriptures say, like no other, okay? And I'm actually gonna, get the precept, so to speak, okay? This is, there we go. This is Jeremiah 30 and verse 7. It says, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, okay? So, that's the time frame that we're coming into, okay? We're coming into the time of the Lord's return. We're coming into the time of Jacob's trouble, well, all hell will be breaking loose, okay? You're basically going to have, nation against nation, like the scriptures say. It even says city against city, and even people within the city, will basically, be against each other. All these different political agendas, one person who has one view on one side, and they think that that's the right way, while the other person on the other side has a view, right, and an opinion on things, on how it should operate. These two are going to clash heads, okay? They're going to be class wars, okay? They're also going to be civil wars, okay, amongst the people. They're going to be race wars amongst the people, okay? The Lord has all this basically gathered at one time, man. The scriptures tell you that the times would be what? It will be evil, man, okay? The people will be what, man? They'll be out to, get one another, because basically your neighbor, right, the people that you live around, right, the guy that you come outside, you say hey to, you talk to, every single day, and at that time, when they're lacking, guess what? They're going to come and seek your goods, okay? They're going to come and seek your food according to the scriptures. They're going to come in and seek necessities, okay? Anything that they don't have, they're going to try to come and get it. So if you don't have the protection, right, the hedge, right, if you're not moving in the spirit, okay, during that time period, guess what, man? You know what I'm saying? Is it's going to be a, it'll be a long time for you. You know what I'm saying? So to speak, okay? You're going to be in many different trials and tribulations and different woes, right? Different calamities, okay? Now, that's not to say that, the elect, certain people of the elect, won't be going through, the same things, because that's why it's called really, Jacob's trouble, okay? Because Jacob, right, basically going into, the Israelites, okay, is going to be catching hell. But not just Jake too, man. The other nations are also going to be catching hell, okay? Esau is going to be seeing the fall of his empire, man. Okay, he's going to see his nation fall, his kingdom's falling, man. And as it's falling, he's going to do what, man? He's going to basically be on a, how can I say this? An unaliving, suicide. Know if you can say the other word, so I'm just going to say an unaliving suicide. That's how he operates, man. Right? He goes to work, right? He works his whole, he works his whole life. He has a family that he takes care of. But then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the job decides to cut him, okay, decides to fire him, let him go, and he has to go work somewhere else. What does he do? He goes and, unalives his family, and then he, unalives himself. Okay. You know, that's the type of person you're dealing with. So when he sees he's not equipped to handle the type of pressure and the type of judgment, okay, that the Israelites have went through, man. He folds and cracks underneath pressure, man. So during the time of Jacob's trouble, like I said, you're gonna have everybody. It's gonna be survival of the fittest. Everybody's gonna be, out to, get whoever has whatever they need. Okay, and it says, I'm gonna read this again. It says, alas, it says, for that day is great. It says, so that none is like it. Right. So ain't no other day like this day. Okay. This is different. This is a, the time that we're coming into. There's no other day that's going to be like it. Okay. And it says, even the time of Jacob's trouble. Okay. We explain what that is. And it says, but he shall be saved out of it. Right. And then he, is going into, the hopeful elect, the remnant, the 1/3. Okay, because right now, or soon to come, in Babylon the Great, all hell is going to break loose. Okay, and the Lord is going to save the elect. They're going to be men within that. They're going to be women, and they're going to be children too as well. All right, let's go ahead and get another precept. Let's go to this is Daniel 12 and verse 1, right? And the heading for it, if you have it, if you have it eSword, LT or whatever, is it talks about the end. Okay, it says the time of the end, and it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. Okay, and it says, and there shall be a time of trouble, right? Which, going back into what we just read, Jacob's trouble, all hell breaking loose, man. The Lord coming down with the sword on Jake, man, which is Esau, Edom. I believe that's, pursuing back to Psalms 17 and verse 13. Okay, and it says, such as never was since there was a nation. So there's no time that's going to be worse than this time since the nations, were created. It says, even to that same time, and it says, and at that time thy people shall be delivered, right? The Israelites, right? Okay, which is consists of you so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole, Indian, man, woman, and child. And then the Gentiles, the Israelite foreigners, who looks like the other nations, right? But in spirit, they're Israelites. Their lineage go back to someone of the nation of Israel. Okay, and then it says, and at that time that people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Okay, yeah, but it talks about what, it talked about, Michael, standing up, to basically defend, right? That's how bad the time's gonna be. The Lord's actually gonna have to send, Michael the archangel, to defend the people, man. And I believe that word stand up just means to go, and basically oppose, right? So anybody that's against the Lord's anointed, the elect, you will basically be what the youngsters call an opposition, or they call them an op in today's time or whatever. Okay, you will be an op to Michael, man. And it says, I'm gonna read a little bit more, and it says, that great prince, right? Because I believe the name is I believe his name means one who is like the Most High. Okay, and it says, which standeth for the children of thy people. And it says, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even at the same time. Okay, so just reiterating, what that scripture says, there's going to be a lot of pain, man, a lot of hurt, a lot of sorrows. The people especially within Babylon the Great, aka America. They're not ready for it, man. They are simply not ready for what the Lord is going to bring, man. And it's even going it's going to be so bad, man. It's going to bring shocks to everybody, man. You know, we read about it in the scriptures, but with through our spiritual foresight, we're preparing our spirits, our minds to be able to witness that. You know what I'm saying? Because like these other nations, you know, we haven't been in, you know, all these different, crazy wars, you know, people coming over and invading the land and having to worry about, some type of bomb or missiles or, gunfire all over the place. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's going to be, a crazy sight, man, when it's basically kind of all happening all at one time, man. Right? The implementation, right? The beginning, the commencement of World War III, man. Okay, that's on the horizon too as well. Okay. We're gonna get another precept, pretty much going into the same thing. Okay. I'm gonna start a little bit up on this one here. This is Matthew 24 and verse 19. Basically going into what, the end times. Okay, and it says, and woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days, man. And hey, look, history repeats itself, over and over again, man. That's all it is, man. It's just a cycle. Okay, and it talks about what, man? People having young children, man. Okay, they're gonna be people still going out, still being married, giving into marriage, right? They're gonna still be people having children, okay, just trying to live a normal life, so to speak, while all these different things are happening, man. Not really paying attention into what the Lord is, truly having happen in the earth, man. Okay, trying to live trying to live a so-called normal life, man. Okay, and it says, verse 20, and I'm gonna get to the point that I want to get to. It says, but pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Right? You know what I'm saying? Because in the winter is what, man? Your flight going into you running, man. You on the run, man. You trying to escape, the perils. You trying to escape the calamities, the woes, the tribulations. You know what I'm saying? They got, all these different people out here fighting, gunfire all over the place. You trying to go somewhere, but hey, man, look, it's cold outside, man. It's freezing, man. It's tough to move in those type of environments, okay? It says, verse 21, it says, for then shall be a great tribulation, which shows you that we are going to go through tribulation, okay? It says, such as were not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Okay, so that backs up what? The previous scriptures, man, the previous verses, man. Going into a time like none other. You know what I'm saying? Since there was a nation, okay, since the world was made, okay, it's going to be crazy hectic out here, man. It's going to strike fear in the hearts of many people, man. Okay, when all that stuff is going on, Lord willing, we have the comforter, man. We have the spirit, man. We have the understanding of the scriptures, the knowledge, the wisdom. Okay, so that's gonna, allow us to proceed forward and know how to move and to navigate these different troubles, man. Okay, but everybody else is gonna be losing their mind. Okay, they're gonna be basically going out of their wits, so to speak, losing their wits. Okay, and it says, verse 22, and it says, and except those days shall be shortened, right? There shall no flesh be saved. It says, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened, man. And I can honestly say, man, pretty much since we had the dragon juice happen, the days have just flown by, right? Since pretty much 2019 on down up until today, man. You know, to me, it's just the days just fly, and it seems like it's getting faster and faster. It felt like we just hit, 2025, so to speak. And now, looking back at it, which the Lord had so much happen, from the beginning of the year up until now, it feels like the days have been sped up, man. Time has been sped up, okay? And but that goes into the prophecies, man. It goes into what? The days being shortened, man. Okay? And the scriptures talk about what? The days being shortened for the elect saved. So that what? The people, will be saved, man. Because the Edomite, the so-called white man, he's gonna go on a full-on blood rampage, okay? He's gonna come out blasting, taking down anything. He's gonna be completely bloodthirsty. And the number one target is gonna be Jake, man, because he's easy work, man. He's easy prey, okay? He's already doing it now, right? He do it through the legal system, or whatever you want to call it, the political system, okay? The educational system. He already sets up, the basically ease in the hood, right? Lurking in the villages, right? Seeking to basically devour the poor, man, to kill them, right? He's like basically like a lion, man, crouched down, hiding himself, ready to pounce on, Jake, so to speak. Okay, that's his MO. That's how he comes, man. So how much more when his whole kingdom is falling, man? How much more when he realizes he's losing and going to lose, when there's no remedy for his pain, man? When that true gut-wrenching, hurt sets in, okay? He's gonna lose his his I don't want to say the word. He's gonna lose his shit, so to speak, But let me get this here. This is all right. All right, I'm gonna go straight to the point. This is John 16 and verse 33. It says, "These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace," right? And that's how we get it, man. Okay, we are just talking about the comfort, right? We talking about all hell breaking loose, right? But we find peace, man. We find comfortability in its own way, right? But through the words of the Lord, man, through having a faith, man. Okay, like understanding what's going on and why it's going on. Why is it happening? Now we don't know how everything is going to play out, so to speak, because basically the scriptures say we know in part and prophesied in part. But guess what, man? Hey, look, we got the understanding, and it says in the world ye shall have tribulation, okay? And we're going through it now, man. Brothers are already, the Lord has it set up to where everybody, or a large majority of the brothers are basically being tried already. That gold tried in the fire, man. Acceptable men, right, coming out in a furnace of adversity. That's what the Lord has going on, man. Okay, we're being tried, as we speak. And every brother, I'm pretty sure every brother has their own they have their own testimony, man, of what's going on in their life, and about how the Lord is just making moves, man. The Lord is truly putting in work, man, across the across the earth, man. Okay, and it says be of good cheer, I have overcome the world, man. So the Lord he's basically laid his life down, right, for the elect of the nation of Israel chiefly, and then the rest of Israel will come in after, man. Okay, they'll be reborn in the kingdom, and all this, would just seem like a bad dream, man. You know what I'm saying? But it was something that was necessary, for us to go through, because it was just the Lord's will. It's what he wanted, man. Okay, and we aren't above, the Lord's will, okay? We got to do whatever it is that Yahweh Shema Shah commands us to do, But we'll go get one more here. I'm gonna end it off with this here, right? Because we talked about the trying times, we talked about the tribulations, we talked about the civil war, we talked about we talked about class wars, okay? We talked about race wars, we talked about people rioting, looting, shooting. Everything is going to be happening all at once, man. The military is already basically being basically kind of turned into a police state, okay? They're using that to so-called police the streets, right, to keep the peace, okay, to basically bring down crime. And yes, to a certain extent it will lower the crime, but this is just so he could get his foot in for what he has planned next. Everything will already be set up. The military will already be there. They'll already be in place in certain parts of the city to shut everything down, and you won't be able to do anything, okay? And this is where your faith kicks in, all right? This is where your faith in Yahweh Shema Shah kicks in, okay? You already have, at least another level of faith, I'll say that, okay? Because you're already showing signs of faith now, right? By doing this work, doing the will, right? By believing, man, okay? All right, this is Revelation 2:10. It says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. It says, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, right? So, we see it with what? The Northern Kingdom first, right? Being basically cast into these sea camps, okay? They keep saying that these people are being deported, but you don't see these people anymore, man. You don't hear about them. You know what I'm saying? How do you really know they're going to their destination, right? Okay, so it's it's a lot going on, that Esau plays. He has a lot of trickery, right? A lot of witchcraft, okay, within his media and the things that he put out there, man. Okay, it's basically what I'm saying. It says, again, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. It says, behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give Salakia. It says, I'm gonna read that again. It says, devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, right? We're being tried now, but some people are actually literally gonna go into certain camps, so to speak, and be tried there, right? They're gonna be arrested, they're gonna be locked away, okay? And it says, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Now, that 10 days basically represents a certain disposition of time, okay? Some men days maybe 7 days, some might actually be 10, some might be 2 weeks or something. We don't know exactly how long we're going to be in there, but while in there, you're going to be tried, right? They're going to try to basically offer you basically probably the MOTB. You know what I'm saying? That's the main thing, okay? But what did the Lord say? It says, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life, right? You're going to receive basically the kingdom of heaven, immortality, if you stand on business, right? What the Lord wants you to do. You know what I'm saying? The scriptures talk about, it says, let me get this real quick. Kind of forgot what it says. Yeah, this is Sirach 4:28. It says, strive for the truth unto death, and the Lord shall fight for thee, right? And that's an honorable thing, man. Basically the king of the universe, having great love for you, having great compassion for you. You went through the trials, you went through the tribulations, you passed the test, man. And him coming back to basically avenge you, man. And because Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, is the ultimate avenger, okay? All right, but that's pretty much all I have. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. The title of today's lesson was the hard part is yet to come, man. Stay vigilant, stay focused, stay aware, be circumspect, look well to where you're going, right? Be prudent, okay? And the Lord will do everything else, man. Just stay on your watch, keep the faith through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, right? But like I said, that's all I have through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying first and foremost to the hopeful elect. But prior to getting out of here, we want to give all infinite honor and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Shemar Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone who rule and teach well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, all right? Kwame Yasha Allah, Ababa Ball, Shalom.